Hello, hello, guys. It's Krystal Lee Moore Lucier here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor. Krystal Lee Moore. This is Realtor Life, and I am so happy you're here. So, today we're just going to have a shorter episode. We're going to be talking about thinking into results, culture, and the state of the city. Okay, so number one, thinking into results. So, as you know, a lot of us are very focused, especially as entrepreneurs, as go-getters, on personal growth, personal development. Why is that important? So, we've talked about before, what you think about today is like 95% of what you thought about yesterday. And if that's the case, we need to be putting good things in to our minds, right? Like it just makes sense. And I talked about this actually. I spoke at an event for one of my friends and colleagues, Anna Sinalow. Thank you, Anna. She had an anniversary event, and I got to give a little talk to my colleagues just about the importance of goals. But we also talked about the importance of putting good things into your mind. Who are you surrounding yourself with? What are you putting in? Now, years ago, they had this as a very important message about the five people closest to you. And that is important. The five people closest to you will obviously influence you. But in this day and age, in this climate, when we think about like social media, cell phones, the fact that everyone has one of these on them, right? You have your phone all the time. What are you looking at? What are you reading? And you can really go down a rabbit hole with all of the YouTube shorts and the social media. As a side note, there's this really cool thing called Mental Game Academy. We did talk about it before, but in Mental Game Academy, they actually tell about research. And that research shows that watching these shorts over and over, so very short things, it shrinks the part of your brain that needs to focus for longer than just a few seconds. And so when you're watching these, think about our kids, right? You're watching these things, and then it's time to focus on a movie, right? For the longest time, our kids were like, we don't want to watch a movie because it's too long. And I've been like, oh, I want to watch something, but I don't have the mental capacity right now to sit for 2 hours. Let's watch a show. To the point that like a couple years ago, I was reading the Robin Williams biography and I decided to watch his movies in conjunction with the book. So as I was getting to like filming a movie, I would watch to filming a movie in the book, I would actually watch the movie. And it was cool. I got to go down memory lane. I got to watch Dead Poets Society. I got to watch Hook, which was amazing, Mrs. Doubtfire. Really, really good movies. But the thing is, like paying attention matters, right? So, but if you think about like how much information is going into our brains at a rapid pace, what are we putting in? And that's where something like thinking into results happens. Because at the end of the day, you really need to make sure that you're putting the right things in that you're learning. So thinking into results, if you don't know, it's a program that was made by Bob Proctor. So he's not with us anymore, but Bob Proctor is an amazing, amazing man. And he used the book Think and Grow Rich by, I am blanking. I feel like it's Napoleon Hill, but yes, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So he used that book and he created an entire program called Thinking into Results. I was very lucky. About 11 years ago, this was introduced to me, and I've done the program myself. I did it with everyone, but then I've done it myself 3 or 4 times. And it really helps you identify kind of big, audacious, scary goals and go for them. But it really breaks down what you need to understand about getting these goals. So in that program, they also talk about the human mind and how our conscious mind is what takes in all this stuff. So when we're talking about like YouTube shorts and people talking and gossip at the office and TikTok and Instagram, this is all going in, right? This is all going into our conscious mind. And unfortunately, it'll all start to flow the more you watch it and see it and hear it into your subconscious mind, which then starts affecting your behavior, right? So, like when we're wondering, why do people end up kind of dressing similarly? Or if people spend a lot of time together, why do they end up with maybe the same income level or the same interests? Like, did they have those and then they started spending time together, or did it all kind of work out? So, the more things go in, the more it affects you. And so that's why I'm very committed to putting the right things in. But thinking into results, so I think the first step is you read the book, Think and Grow Rich. Fun fact about this book. So my dad gave me a copy of this book. Oh my gosh, like years ago. And he was like, you should read this book. And I thought it was just about money. And I was like, I don't want to read a finance book. Like, come on, Dad. Threw it on my shelf. And then Brian Buffini was like, you should read this book. He didn't say it just to me. It was to like thousands of people, but it felt like it was just to me. But I'm like, okay. And then someone else suggested it. I was like, all right, I get it. I get it. So I decided to read it. And it's not really about money as much as it's about letting go of fears and really like leaning into your passion and figuring out how to maximize your effectiveness and go for those goals. Phenomenal book. So I'm so happy I read it. It's one of those things I'm like, why didn't I read it sooner? Because I was a stubborn younger person, guys, because I was stubborn. But that book was the basis of this program. So if you have a chance to do the program, I think it's still around. I think you may have to buy it through their programming, Proctor Gallagher Inc., I believe. But the key with it is it's Bob. So he's teaching the courses and he goes through all of these lessons to help you really understand what drives you, why you need a goal that is scary to actually push you forward, and kind of what will get in the way and how to push through that. But it really, really comes down to putting the work in. One of the things you do in this program is you write out results in your life the way they are now. You're not like, especially if you're not pumped about them. So let's say it's an income, let's say a relationship, let's say it's a friendship, let's say it's your health, your weight, whatever it is. You write down how it is and you burn or rip up. I feel like maybe in global warming, you're not burning a lot of stuff, but you rip it up, physically get rid of that. And then you write out, I am so happy and grateful now that, and you write everything as you wish it was. So you write it as though it's true, even though it's not true. But then you write that out. He wants you to write it 100 times a day. I already write a lot of notes. I don't want to get carpal tunnel. I'm writing it out 5 times a day. So it covers a sheet. But the key, right? The reason you're doing it is you're kind of cheating the system and you're getting it into your mind because you are not only you're thinking it, you're writing it, so you're feeling it. There's the kinesthetic, you're seeing it, aesthetic, and then you say it out loud, which is like so you hear it, but you also speak it. And all of that in repetition starts like funneling through to your subconscious, which then can help your behavior and your results. Now, this is not an alternative to doing the course. There's a lot more to it than that. But the key is like you still have to put the work in. So you still have to listen to the program, you have to do the work, you have to write the stuff out, and then you have to start paying attention. And so there are things you need to change in your life, but if they're the goals that excite you, it won't be as hard as it may feel. An example, actually, that I go through with people, because it's something as women we're dealing with all the time. Let's say it's a health goal. Let's say like you just want to lose that elusive 5 pounds that almost everyone in North America is trying to lose. Do you really want to lose it? Because if you do, if you really, really do, then you're going to leave like the cookies or the cake or the chips or whatever. But do you want to lose it more than you want those items, right? So it's the mind is a crazy thing, but it becomes more than willpower. That's why they say like you need a strong why with your goals. The biggest thing is just like figure out those goals, come up with the why, do the work. It is an amazing program. Okay, so next thing is culture. So this kind of touches on the 5 people that we spend time with, but I'm working with a new coach with Kathleen Black, and her name is Fizina. She's awesome. Thanks, Fizina. But we were talking about culture and the culture of a team, the culture of a group, whether it's a networking group, whether it's a team, whether it's an office, friendships, whatever. And when you're building culture, you have to decide what are your non-negotiables. So respect for each other, avoiding cliques, avoiding gossip, things like avoiding negativity, like having a zero tolerance for speaking about each other. And when you get to a situation where someone is in conflict with that, so you set out these ground rules, you have to also be strong enough to say, like, if you're not going to stick to these, off you go. And it is easier said than done, right? Because I think no one ever, in my experience, is absolutely trying to be a negative person that's causing pain to others, right? It's just not. No one is a villain in their own mind. And there's always a good reason for things. But if you set those goals and those boundaries from the start in a group, it's a lot easier because then you'll attract people that also share those goals. And so when we're looking at culture, it's very important to make sure that in the time that you are spending, that you are around the people who are going to help you and who you can help. Everyone wants to lift each other up. Like that's the goal. And I touched briefly on lead tribes. So lead tribes is exciting. Like I just started this lead tribes network branch in London and so pumped. So last week I was able to go to their kickoff. So they had a kickoff with the 10 different groups or tribes and the energy was amazing, guys. Like so amazing. You walk in the room and it was just you could feel the support and the care and it didn't feel cliquey. Like obviously like I didn't know anyone. Um, I knew two people, but it didn't feel like I needed to know people to be okay in that room. And I think that's kind of what we're looking for as entrepreneurs and as networkers, where you can walk into a room and easily meet people. Right. So that's the goal. And then the very last thing I just wanted to touch on was I said it's called the state of the city. So this morning I was able to go with my association. I was invited to go and enjoy the state of the city. So our mayor, Josh Morgan, kind of gives his summary of what's going on in the city. I took 6 double-sided pages of notes. It was a phenomenal, phenomenal conversation. The work that London is doing to help alleviate people like the experiencing homelessness issue we're having, actually creating supportive housing, having London police go out with healthcare workers and mental health professionals to really help people kind of not just help them in the moment, but help them get out of this situation. We have so many places in London, like Youth Opportunities Unlimited, which we help so much. And it is just so beautiful to see the community rally together to help the people who are experiencing situations where, I mean, in Canada, in Ontario, in London, people experiencing homelessness, people who are unhoused, it's a real issue. And if we can try to eliminate it, that would be ideal because it's terrible that it even happens. But I think the strides that the city is making are wonderful. The other thing that they were talking about is just tourism. Like, I don't know about your cities, but like London brought in over $1 billion of tourism dollars last year, which is amazing. I think, especially with people not really going as much to the States right now in Canada, it is nice to know that throughout Canada, we have such beautiful places to visit. And I haven't even been to every province. I don't know about you guys, but there's so many beautiful things to see. London, Ontario, I mean, we now have the Hard Rock Hotel, we have the factory, we have the London Children's Museum, we have the Grand Theatre, we have concerts and festivals and like you name it. And I know what's nice about so many cities is getting involved and finding that information out. Because here's the thing, guys, we can share out to our clients, whether they're real estate clients, whether they're mortgage clients, whether they're whatever clients, letting them know about what's going on in the city and that you have your finger on the pulse of it is a big deal. So on the one hand, I was honored to be invited and I was honored to go. It was such a great experience. On the other hand, we had to be there for 7:30 a.m. It was knowing that it was worth it really helps, especially on such a busy day that we had today or that we have today. But ultimately, like the cities we live in, that's a huge piece, right? So it's also a networking opportunity. So if you can go to these things, I was able to meet some really great people this morning. I was able to reconnect with some great people. Like, isn't that what it's about, right? Showing up. I think there was 1,200 people there this morning hearing very open and honest dialogue. He had a written speech and he pushed it aside and he just kind of went for an off the cuff sharing. And it was really good because it was honest, it was authentic. But as a group, we were able to take that in. And now that's 1,200 people that can go out into their networks and their communities and share the good work. So if you have something that's like that in your city, I definitely recommend getting into that. If you didn't get a chance to go, I think they usually record them, but just making sure that if there's stuff going on in your city, good or bad, hopefully good, that you can tell people about it, that you can share, that you can be that ambassador. Because we're very, very fortunate to live in Canada, in Ontario. I love our city of London, Ontario. And big love to Guelph and big love to Ottawa too, and Montreal. All near and dear to my heart. But I love London. I love being a Londoner. And it is important that you love the city you're in if you're representing it to your clients, right? So kind of exciting. Okay. So we have some amazing, amazing, amazing interviews coming up. And I am just so grateful to be able to run this podcast, guys. It is truly a passion. Truly, it is so exciting. And the interviews we have coming up are just top notch. And I've been so grateful to have the interviews we've already had. If you are interested in being interviewed, let me know. We'll get you on the schedule. Basically, if you have a message for other entrepreneurs and you think that it will be helpful, big love. Would love to have you. So just to wrap up, thinking into results, that is Bob Proctor. I do think if you Google or look at YouTube, there are at least the first lesson is online, but chat with me if you can't find it and I'll connect you with the right people. So thinking into results, I recommend reading Think and Grow Rich. There is an abridged version, I believe, by Earl Nightingale. I think it's probably also on YouTube. I think that's condensed into like an hour, but it is worth the read if you read it. Remember, 10 pages a day. That's all you need to do. Culture, why culture is important around us with the people that we are kind of in our inner circle. That culture is everything, not just for our well-being, but also because it's going to shape literally our destinies, right? So it's very serious stuff. And state of the city, get involved in knowing what's going on in your backyard, right? So, guys, thank you so much for listening. It was wonderful to share all of this stuff. I'm so excited, like I said, about all the interviews we have coming up. And if you have questions, I am always here. So my name is Krystal Lee Moore Lucier, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. This is Realtor Life, and I'm so happy that you joined us today.